I got killed for this. In small context, Howie Roseman has been masterful in creating a market for Carson Wentz off this season. That doesn't absolve his past sins to be in this position.
Right.
An organizational failure.
Be deep, and he was there. I mean, that's what you want from your safeties, and those little things are what get these bad teams caught up. You watch that. You watch what happened to Buffalo's defense. They tried to keep somebody deep, but that safety being nosy and looking in the backfield. The next thing you know, Tyreek Hill's over the top.
Yeah, there he is.
McMullen, what's up, bro?
What's up, guys?
What's up,
How's
John?
it going, man?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Now you loved the game last night too, didn't you?
Did I what?
You loved the game last night too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I nailed that one. I just put my prediction on Twitter. I said that Chiefs offensive line was those tackles.
Yeah,
they were not going to be able to deal with Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett. I thought it would be closer than that, but look, Tom Brady. That's how Tom Brady lost twice to the Giants. No matter how good you are as a quarterback, if you don't have protection up front, you're going to look bad.
Yeah, look at JPP.
Here we go.
He has never lost in the playoffs.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
8-0.
O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eitan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
All right, winding down our second hour here. Remember, 20 minutes from now, we'll have overtime, courtesy of Book It Sports each and every day, 1 o'clock Eastern. We carry on, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of carrying over. Some things we'll talk about with our next guest, as promised, our NFL insider, John McMullen at JF McMullen. You can follow him everywhere, phillyvoice.com as well as si.com, Eagles Maven. And John, as always, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time, your insight, and everything to follow. I'll start with an easy one, a softball. Now that Tom Brady has won his 7th ring, let's look at who really is the best of all time in any team sport. Is it Tom Brady with his 7 rings on this end, or is it another 7-ring winner in Robert Horry?
610.
Considering football is the ultimate team sport, and Robert Horry got carried for the most part to his 7 rings, I'm going to go Tom Brady. If you want to argue Bill Russell, you want to go way back.
Isn't that 12?
What's he got, 11?
He's got 11 or 11, I think. But even then, I mean, it was different era. The Celtics had 7 Hall of Famers. I don't know how many, but to do what Tom Brady's done in the free agency era, and you just saw it. I mean, he just left the team, came to a new conference and a new team, and won another one. So I don't want to hear he's not the greatest quarterback of all time. He's the greatest quarterback of all time.
He's the greatest team player of all time, period.
I think it's tough to argue that. And by the way, before yesterday's game, I think it was tough to argue that.
Yep.
Do you have a countdown clock set for Carson's imminent departure?
Oh, God, I can't wait.
You and me both, brother.
Please end it. I saw he had my buddy Joe on today. I was talking to Joe right before he went on your show. Carson Wentz is just, it's funny because I was texting somebody yesterday about Tom Brady, and if you go back to the offseason, remember when Tom went into the wrong house with Byron Leftwich?
Yeah.
He's desperate.
He got him confused for Todd Bowles, I think.
Yeah. Well, he was desperate to get the playbook. Remember, he's breaking quarantine laws to practice in public parks. He's not supposed to be there. And, to continue down this Carson Wentz road, how do you regress to the point he did? And I think that's the question everybody's trying to answer. And my new theory is he didn't do anything in the offseason. In the COVID offseason, in the first virtual offseason, players were left to their own devices. The great ones, Tom Brady being the example, they marry talent with work ethic. They're always trying to get better, always. Now, Carson was a first-time father. Hey, that's more important, but that's a higher life calling. But fans and your employer, they don't want to hear that.
No.
You didn't do anything in the offseason.
Absolutely. And I'm the only person that chimed in on your tweet about Carson staying. And I did that because I still believe he's going to be here.
Well, that was a joke, Barrett.
I know. And you didn't mean it literally, and I meant it so literally too.
This is like responding to The Onion or Babylon Bee or something satirical in order to,
Yeah.
I mean,
anybody who follows my Twitter knows there's a lot of sarcasm, or they should know.
Oh, I knew that. I knew that. And I'm getting it from these guys all the time.
It's not a parody account.
No, it's not. Not yet. It's getting there.
But I do. I know he's going to get traded, but it still doesn't make sense. I mean, and I keep telling people there's three things that make me think this. And number one, the fact that they owe him, they're gonna have to sit $34 million that can go towards no other position, no other. I mean, it's going to be a $34 million cap hit right there. That's number one. Number two, the fact that he's still the best quarterback on the team. He can be fixed, but at the end of the day, you look at the fact that the owner and the GM love him. Oh, I'll just leave it to two. Yeah, those two right there. The money and the GM and the owner love him, and they're still going to let him go.
I don't know if that's the case anymore, to be honest, because Jeffrey, understand, look at quarterback contracts. You can go all the way back to Carson's extension. I think it was Jimmy Garoppolo was $27.5 million. Then it was Kirk Cousins at 28. Then it was Matt Ryan at 30. You keep going up incrementally. That's how contracts work. And Carson at the time got the most guaranteed money. Aaron Rodgers had signed before, so we couldn't go over him. But nonetheless, it goes up in very small increments. Now, look at the other side of that. When you talk about the dead money record.
Yes.
Well, it was Brandon Cooks at $21 million. Then it was Antonio Brown at $21.8. Then it was Jared Goff at $22.2. That's the current record. That is the current record. And Jeffrey Lurie is going to spike that to $33.8 million, which that tells me one thing. He no longer likes Carson Wentz. He wants him the heck out of his building.
Wow. Now, okay, so then what do you think what's your gut tell you that they do? Is it Jalen Hurts' team? Are they going to also draft a guy at 6? Or are they going to acquire somebody, one of these veterans? Because there's a lot of veterans around that may be available.
Well, Nick Foles might be the backup.
Oh, yes.
We'll see. I mean, if you go back to when the Eagles drafted Carson Wentz, they traded up twice to get to number 2. What did Howie Roseman say at that time? We don't plan on being here very often.
Right.
It didn't work out that high.
Yeah.
And when you're this high, you better go get the quarterback. So, look, if they love Justin Fields and he's there at 6, they might have to go quarterback now after trading Carson Wentz. But
they have to then.
Wow.
They have to.
You have to think about it. I will say that. But I think, Jalen Hurts would be the guy, and you get a veteran backup, which may or may not be Nick Foles, and I think that would be a disastrous decision. I think Jalen Hurts is mentally tough enough to deal with it, but why would you want him to deal with it?
At this point, I'm thinking, if they were to trade him, there's no question that you would then have to draft at the number 6 position, or even maybe trade up to get a guy like Wilson from BYU. If you think he's the second best quarterback in this draft, and I think he is the second best quarterback in this draft. So at this point, you have to make sure that you bring in a guy that's going to be one of those players that you're going to have to bank your future on for the years going on, because there's no way they're going to be this low for this long. Number 6, come on now. I mean, at this point, you have to get a quarterback.
Here's why I'm confused: is what happens if the top 3 guys are most likely, and I would bank on it, off the board at that time, and you don't move up? Are you locking yourself into Jalen Hurts, or are you trading back to draft Trey Lance at 11?
I mean, they have to seriously consider taking a quarterback. So if that's moving up, moving down, they have to seriously, unless they think Jalen Hurts, it all comes down to evaluation. If they think he's a legitimate starting quarterback, then maybe they go in a different direction with Jamar Chase if he's there, Devontae Smith, who knows?
No.
But to me, if you're up that high, and I haven't seen enough of Jalen Hurts, where the guy's a second-round pick, nothing against Jalen Hurts.
Right.
He doesn't look like a franchise quarterback to me.
Mm-hmm.
So they better find a franchise quarterback. That's what everybody's looking for. If you think Zach Wilson is a franchise quarterback, yeah, go up and get him if you can.
I would think so. Because I mean, if you trade him, you're at least getting, at the very least. I mean, they're going to have to get a first rounder for Carson. Wouldn't you think?
I'm amazed. It looks like they're going to. By the way, and that's where I said I got killed for this. In small context, Howie Roseman has been masterful in creating a market for Carson Wentz off this season. That doesn't absolve his past sins to be in this position.
Right.
An organizational failure. But just for that, for him coming off this season, where you can make a strong argument that Carson Wentz was the worst starting quarterback in the NFL, to get the 20th or 21st overall pick, that's pretty stinking good.
Really good.
Thank goodness for Ryan Pace.
Yeah,
if that's the case.
Right.
Well, that's what he's doing. He's trying to get the weakest of the herd.
Right. Yeah.
And Ryan Pace is GMing for his job. Mm-hmm. He's got no other chance. He's got to win this season. So what does he do? He's desperate. You take advantage of it.
I don't know, man. I still don't see it.
Such a difficult, and this is why, like, Howie Roseman is such a difficult, sustainable process here. And what he's doing is they continue to try and get out of a commodity that they have put so, and I'm not saying he should stay. Clearly, the time is done. But this thing will be looked at as Howie Roseman was able to save the franchise from a situation. And I don't think
he put him in.
Yes.
It's a quarterback who threw 3 interceptions in the first half and now throws 4 touchdowns in the end, and they win by a point.
It's Andrew Luck.
Yeah, except I'm more confident in Luck running the show than Roseman. And let me say this. I muted that guy who was all over you, and I don't know. He wasn't my guy. He's not speaking for me. So I
mute it. I mute everybody.
Yeah,
I don't
care.
That
guy's an idiot, and he doesn't speak for people that I.
Well, now what happened here? Can detail this.
Well, John put the tweet out, and then I was taking personal shots at Howie Roseman, and we were just having it wasn't a back and forth. It wasn't a disagreement. I was going my way, and John.
Yeah, I'm not killing. I mean, Howie's a nice man. I'm not killing him on a personal level. From a football level, I kill him all the time. I mean, I constantly. Anybody can Google my name and Howie Roseman. I constantly. But I said in that small instance to create a market for Carson Wentz, that's masterful. That's what I put. That's what I was getting killed over. Not absolving him from past sins and past mistakes. Just in that small, I didn't think he could get a first round pick, and it looks like he's going to get a first round pick.
To create a market, I mean, that's you have to give him props for creating a market that there shouldn't be a market.
Exactly.
Hold on a second. This is where it was common sense to believe that Frank Reich would have interest in Carson Wentz. You have a solid connection with Ryan Pace and this organization. It's not like Howie Roseman spent the last 6 years devising a plan of how to create markets and is now teaching this at Penn and other Ivy League schools.
But he spent the last 6 days, and he got 2 teams at least, possibly San Francisco, possibly Las Vegas. And when you get more teams involved, you can up the bidding. And that's what GMs do. I mean, that part of it he's good at.
Right.
Are they involved, or is this just, hey, man, if you don't make a move, like you're telling me that Vegas would make this deal and give up more than the Bears?
The point of, well, the Mike Mayock loves Carson Wentz, has always loved Carson Wentz. We all know John Gruden falls in and out of love with quarterbacks quicker than anybody. Yeah. Now, do I believe they would offer more? No. But if you get somebody believing they might offer more, that's the point. That's what you're trying to create. And that's what I think Howie is doing well.
If only he could draft.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Personnel's different.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he was masterful of moving up to get Carson. He's doing the same thing now for whoever he's going to pick up this year.
Yeah, that's the stuff he's good at. Maneuvering around the board, trades, value. That's the stuff he's good at. Personnel evaluation.
Not so much.
Not so much.
If they end up with another quarterback from North Dakota State, people are going to lose their minds.
That's crazy. John, stay right there because
I want to play one game.
Right.
We're going to take a quick one here. We'll wrap the hour next. Overtime at the top. It's the middle, phillyvoice.com/the middle and Sports Map Radio.
Attention gun owners in the Philadelphia region. Sign up now with our NRA instructor, Bob Dooley, who will teach you gun safety as part of this 3-hour safety class, which is being held at Delaware Valley Sports Center in Philadelphia. For information, drop an email to info@DelawareValleySportsCenter.com. That's info@DelawareValleySportsCenter.com. Learn the fundamentals at Delaware Valley Sports Center. You can't miss.
All right, so let me come at this from more of an inquisitive nature and not of an I know definitive way to ask a question. But isn't part of maneuvering up markets, things like that, doesn't part of that being good at it mean that you're getting something of value, you're getting a good commodity in return? So right now, I don't know how to look at how Howie Roseman maneuvered up the draft board from 12 to 8 to 2 to get Wentz as a good thing if 4 years later he's doing the same exact thing to get rid of him. Like, I get your ability to maneuver.
Yeah.
And I'll use another analogy. It's like somebody who can take you off the dribble, get by you, and miss every layup. It's like, damn, this dude can get to the rack every time.
Right.
But he's missing layups.
But he can't finish.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, Eitan. I'm saying in that, and to use your metaphor,
sure,
you can say that guy's great off the dribble, and it's right. Now, the end game, he's not finishing. That's fine. That's fair. But you can legitimately say he's great off the dribble. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying is, look, this is an organizational failure on a massive scale. That $33.8 million we're talking about, that cements that on a massive scale. This is an organizational failure. At this point, however, if he gets a first-round pick, and it's still an if, after that season, that's good. Now, is it good in 2019 when you sign him to a $128 million extension? No. Is it good after the 2020 season? Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's
so he's good off the dribble.
Yeah, that's the problem because you don't have a guy in which you want a guy that's a football guy to make those type of decisions for you. But is he too stuck on being that football guy that he can't see past? Kind of like with Carson, can't see the flaws of his ways. I mean, would you say that's the same thing, the same definition? Carson can't see why he's as bad as he is because he doesn't think he's bad. Well, is that the same thing we're saying about the GM? How he's that bad? He's good, but he can't see past the other flaws that he has to make him even better.
I would go even higher, Barrett. I would go higher to Jeffrey Lurie because, Jeffrey's the one who said.
John, hold on one sec. Sorry.
This is The Middle on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
We've kept John McMullen, our NFL insider, off for a minute or so. We've got about 90 seconds left. So you were just about to answer that question before we came back. I don't want to waste any more time from me. We have overtime at 1 o'clock Eastern. You may continue, sir.
Well, Barrett was asking about, Howie being a football guy. I go up to Jeffrey Lurie and saying, he's the one who said this is a GM factory. And we think we have, whatever he said, 5 GMs in the building.
Yeah.
So they think, Andy Weidel and Ian Cunningham and all those guys are really, really good. And he pointed to Joe Douglas and
the guy that went to Cleveland.
Yeah, who was here for 10 seconds.
2 days, yeah.
Yeah, and John Dorsey was here for less than 10 seconds. So to me, the organization is more like Carson Wentz. They got to do a self-scout and say, this isn't working. So what's not working?
Ooh, I got something here. John, do you have a minute? Can you stick with us for a sec?
Sure.
You have to keep going. All right. So we put you on the spot anyway. So you could just say, no, I got to get out of here. I spent enough time with you idiots. Okay. There's a new bombshell report about a quarterback, and he's not named Carson Wentz. We're going to hit this in response to Carson coming up next. Overtime.
Are you looking for a place to track your action, purchase picks, and share your sports betting analysis with the gambling community? Check out Book It Sports, a social media platform with an unparalleled experience catered for the sports betting community. On the Book It Sports app, you can track all your NFL, NBA, and college basketball picks while getting real-time updates and injury reports all in one convenient place. Start building your following today and stand out amongst your friends by downloading the Book It Sports app on the Apple and Google Play stores. Let's cash some tickets and put it on Book It.
Overtime, courtesy, as you see, Book It Sports at Book It HQ. Our buddy Jeff Parles as well, each and every Wednesday, 1240. Today, as we do every day at overtime, 1 o'clock Eastern, phillyvoice.com/the middle. Barrett Brooks, Harry Mays, Eitan Shander. You never know. In most cases, it is a John McMullen appearance here. So as I mentioned right before we broke, and we were heavy on this Wentz deal, which appears imminent, there's a report coming out right now that the 49ers are, quote, very high on another quarterback. And, John, you already know who it is, don't you?
Well, I didn't see the report, but I assume it's Kirk Cousins.
No, it's actually – and, yes, that would be the logical one that we've talked about here. It's
that's what I was thinking,
Darnold.
Wow.
Well, yeah. I think a lot of people are interested in Sam Darnold. I do know Kyle Shanahan doesn't want Jimmy Garoppolo. That's sort of like a mini Rams situation. You go back to the NFC Championship game, he had given up on Jimmy Garoppolo before Super Bowl 54. They were just running the football, trying to get through it. He doesn't trust him. So Minnesota kind of said that they're not going to trade Kirk Cousins. I do think he wants Kirk Cousins. But, yeah, they take Sam Darnold. I believe that in a second. Wow. And if I were Chicago and Indianapolis and Las Vegas, I'd want Sam Darnold over Carson Wentz.
You read my mind.
Man.
Why? Because Barrett is going to hate that answer. I could see his face already. He looks like he had 6 jugs of that pineapple vodka right now. Angry. That's how much vodka it takes to get Barrett angry.
No,
Why would you want?
I need to hear this too.
The market, except
he's cheaper. He's more Barrett. You talk to people in that locker room. He doesn't rub everybody the wrong way like a certain someone does.
Doesn't have the injury history.
He's not going to balk when you tell him he can't do what he wants on third downs. Carson is a pain in the you-know-what. I don't think Sam would be.
Well, you're right about that. You're right that what he does in the locker room. But I'm going to say this, though. Carson Wentz, I've seen his ceiling. His ceiling is MVC-esque when he's playing at the top of his game. But we also saw the bottom of this game. If you can get a team to get him playing right there in the middle, he could be a lot better than Sam Darnold. We don't know what his ceiling is because he hasn't played well enough to even see where his ceiling is.
Don't confuse Carson Wentz with the middle, please.
Right.
Yeah. We don't want any association.
No. Right.
Part of it is I am giving Sam a little dispensation for dealing with Adam Gase, so I assume if he gets away from Adam Gase, he'll be a little bit better.
Oh, crazy!
Right. We've seen Carson Wentz's ceiling, but remember, Barrett, he hasn't been the same physically since the knee injury, the back injury. So forget about 2017. I want to get Carson Wentz back to 2018, 2019.
Mhm.
Give me 2019 at the last 4 games, and
Yeah.
I'll be good with that.
Yeah.
Here's
Which I think is possible.
Right.
But
yeah, it would buck history.
yeah, I think
Hey,
I-
you want
I think-
history, John McMullen? No team has ever gone under 500 against the spread and won the Super Bowl, including the Kansas City Chiefs last night. I put stock in history in this league.
That's right. That's right. Barrett is still hanging to that midnight green thread that Carson Wentz is going to still be an Eagle next year, man.
The
By the
money,
way,
man.
the under on the Super Bowl too. I was heavy on that. Anytime
me too.
the number was that high, it always goes under. So
Yeah.
that hit as well. Yeah, trends are important. Look, bottom line with Carson is he rubs people the wrong way, and I don't think he's going to be embraced anywhere he goes.
Wow.
Can I ask a quick question based off of that? We're talking about, and right on the show we did, John, you and Barrett about Justin Fields at 6 and 6. I get it, like there's 6. But why aren't we talking about, why aren't the Philadelphia Eagles talking about anybody else? All of these names are out there. Carr, Garoppolo. And look, I'm not saying that I want Jimmy Garoppolo or Kirk Cousins or anybody else there, but why aren't we talking about the Philadelphia Eagles bringing a quarterback of caliber back, at least starting quarterback, even if you're not locked into that guy for the next 2 or 3 years?
Nick Foles, what are you talking about?
I stand
No.
with you, sir.
I mean, look, Jeffrey said they're in a transition period. They're not ready to win. So if you're going to bring in Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, or Kirk Cousins, it's just going to be, okay, 4 and 12 turns into 7 and 9.
Big deal.
So,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
I think they'd rather build on Jalen Hurts or get one of these young quarterbacks if they like one of them. Obviously, they can't get Trevor Lawrence, but if Zach Wilson is a possibility, if they can move up, if they like Justin Fields. But again, it depends on evaluation,
Right.
and whether they like these guys. And Trey Lance, you never scout the helmet. Trey Lance has got nothing to do with Carson Wentz, but I do agree with Yaton. It won't look good for this organization.
Joey B puts it best on the stream. He says Wentz equals speed rack vodka poured into a Grey Goose bottle. There you go, Barrett.
At the end of the day, man, it's the money, man. I just can't get past the money because during the entirety of my 12-year NFL career, 99.1, I'm not going to say 99.9, 99.1 decisions are made monetarily as opposed to even athletics.
And that's why, Barrett, that's why for the longest time I said they're not trading him, because
Right.
I did not believe that Jeffrey Lurie would approve that $33.8 million dead cap hit. I didn't believe it.
Yep.
Andrew Brandt didn't believe it, who's been a vice president in this league with the Packers. Joel Corey's been an agent, didn't believe it. I was talking to Randy Mueller, the former GM of the Saints. He didn't believe it. He's going to do it, which tells you everything you need to know about his relationship with Carson Wentz.
And Howie Roseman.
Yeah.
Yep,
So-
you're absolutely right.
They believe they need him out of the building.
That's like Howie cutting off one of his fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point, Harry.
Man,
Unbelievable.
It's a
Howie
He did say-
Roseman might have something in connection with Ronnie Lott, Barrett. Think about that.
Great toughness with Howie Roseman.
Right. But I
Please.
mean, we still got to go through the evaluation of what they're going to do in this draft. If they get draft capital for Carson, can we trust that they're going to make the right decision in that front office? We have to see still.
5
I'm with you
GMs, Barrett. 5 GMs.
Yep. GM Factory.
Can I ask a quick question, John McMullen? And some of this may seem obvious based on the names that I'm going to throw out, but there is one that I am curious if the Eagles ever had any interest in, and it speaks directly to who they hired as their offensive coordinator. But you see 2 coordinators in the Super Bowl winning squad in Bowles and Leftwich. Those are the obvious ones about how much interest there really was with either of those 2 individuals. But I'm really interested, and your colleague brought this up about comparing the resumes, national colleague and Jim Trotter for the two. Was Pep Hamilton ever looked at by the Philadelphia Eagles instead of going to the current offensive coordinator? And I'm curious as to maybe why.
No, he was never on the list as far as I know. And Jeffrey talks about his list, and he always does it. He puts 25 people on it, knocks it down to 10. He interviewed 10. But obviously he didn't get everybody he wanted to interview. He certainly wanted to interview Brandon Staley. We know that. He wanted to interview Lincoln Riley. We know that. So that's 12 right there when you count the 10 that he did interview. So no, Pep Hamilton wasn't on that list. Byron Leftwich wasn't on that list. Todd got interviewed.
Right.
And said he said he was given a fair shot. But they weren't going to hire a defensive guy. We all know that.
Yeah. Well, even though they wanted Schwartz back, right? They weren't really planning on. And look, these guys could say no, right? Just because I don't care if you are a majority, minority candidate, what have you. If you look at, if you're a woman, first-time head coach, whatever it may be, if you're from another planet, you have the right to say no to a dysfunctional organization, right?
Yeah. I think Mike Kafka said no, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Who the hell is Mike Kafka to say no to this position?
Yeah. Well, you know, if you're with Andy Reid, you're eventually going to be given a chance.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're not named Eric Bieniemy, who hasn't gotten his chance, but everybody else has. And I think Mike kind of feels that way. And it is a bad situation right now.
Awesome. All right.
Kafka knows enough about this organization to say now, I'll pass. I'll wait for a better offer next year.
Yeah, that's Kafka-esque from Kafka.
Yeah. Yeah.
No metamorphosis for this team. There you go.
All right, John, we appreciate
Kafka
you.
joke.
Do you want to leave us with your favorite commercial from last night?
I wasn't paying attention to commercials. I really wasn't. So I'm not equipped to do that. I will go back and look at the commercials, but
you don't have to. Not for us.
I was not paying attention at all. Nothing jumped out at me. I do know that. What was the most popular?
It wasn't me.
Barrett and I think Harry like that Shaggy commercial with Mila Kunis. And here's the thing, though, and we brought this up a little bit earlier. There were like two people from Drake to Bad Bunny that speak to a younger generation. Everything else was catered to us. And look, we all are different in like crossover generations, if you will, our age group. I think me being the youngest, but still, it felt like everything was catered to us. Wayne's World, all of the throwbacks and the nostalgia and everything. Like, I don't need Mike Myers.
Well, you had the weekend. You had the weekend for the halftime show.
Commercials I'm talking about. That's different, right?
Because if you went on Twitter, everybody my age was talking about Springsteen and Prince and Michael Jackson. And then everybody in this generation was, how great was the weekend? I don't know. He opened for the weekday, so I don't think he's that great.
Everybody,
John, just to let you know about the weekend, when I went in and tried to look his name up, I spelled it actually weekend, the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Barrett is the last person you want to ask on this program about anything current.
No,
anything at all.
But I did say Bad Bunny was at the Royal Rumble, so
that's right.
He's really amping up his.
And he's in the Corona commercial.
Even you know who Bad Bunny is? I don't know who the hell this guy is.
No, I didn't know who he was until he was in the Royal Rumble, but I know who he was. I knew who he was from the Corona commercial because that's been around. That Snoop Dogg one.
Right. We got to get out of here.
Yeah, we got to go.
We spent overtime on overtime. Courtesy of Book It Sports. Remember, go to the app.
John, appreciate you, bro.
Download apps.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, guys.
Are you looking for a place to track your action, purchase picks, and share your sports betting analysis with the gambling community? Check out Book It Sports, a social media platform with an unparalleled experience catered for the sports betting community. On the Book It Sports app, you can track all your NFL, NBA, and college basketball picks while getting real-time updates and injury reports all in one convenient place. Start building your following today and stand out amongst your friends by downloading the Book It Sports app on the Apple and Google Play stores. Let's cash some tickets and put it on Book It.